Hey, what's up? Urban Politics, another rousing episode coming to you every week. Right now, you're listening to a song that's on the Gruesome Twosome album me and Dot Giggs did a while ago. Yeah, we got some bangers on here. This was a real fun album. I enjoy doing this album. And this song is called Wait For Me. Great little joint. That's on SoundCloud or wherever you find your music. But you ain't here for that. Later for that. You know what you here for? Same thing I'm here for. A little politics. This is Urban Politics. So please, by all means, let me get into some politics of the day. Let's start off by talking about BLM, Black Lives Matter. That organization has been the issue of all types of contention. It was my actual idea to come on the show, talk about the founders. I've talked about the founders before. I was going to name them, talk about how the movement has started. I've talked about how the movement has started before. So I wanted to come on here and just talk about what's going on lately. I know you've seen the video. I've seen the video. One video, there was a white couple, and they were out there with some black paint. They're covering over Black Lives Matter. That was the one in New York, because the woman specifically took issue with a Latin woman or a Latina woman who was saying, yelling at her and saying that she would throw something at her. She needed to stop trying to, put black paint over that sign. And she was like, "This is my city. This is New York. This ain't going on here in my city." So there's them. I heard they were being brought up on federal charges. Then I know you've seen. There was another video where there were two sisters who was painting over the Black Lives Matter mural. I'm not sure if that was in New York or if it was in D.C. or where, but they were painting over it, and I heard they're coming up on federal charges. The police were out there. The one cop got hurt trying to stop them because he slipped in the paint. I think he hurt his arm or his leg or something like that. It was just a mess. And then she was out there saying that, she's out there like, well, first of all, when I saw the video, I guess I had, what got sent to my Instagram was the brother who was with them, but he was recording it. And she goes in the camera and she's like, "Vote for Jesus, vote for Trump, and this Black Lives Matter stuff, Okay, first of all, vote for Jesus, vote for Trump. Them two guys have nothing to do with each other." So when she said that, she lost me. So, of course, I keep watching it, though, because, this is intriguing, really. A black person. There's plenty of black people I meet who do not necessarily jive with the Black Lives Matter movement, and a lot of black people are kind of like me, like, well, okay, I agree with the sentiment, not necessarily the organization, whatever. But the fact that she out there pouring black paint on it, I'm like, wow, you can not like it, but there's different ways to handle it than this. And if you really wanted it removed, what you got to do is go ahead and get litigious. You got to go down to the downtown office or whatever and file some paperwork, and then I think you got to get signatures, and then you had to have a petition, and then you got to do all this other stuff, and then maybe you can get it removed. But that's the way you go about doing that. If she had such a problem with that, dude, the way that she did it was not the way to do it. So there's that. For the rest of y'all got a problem with it. My goodness. But so there was that. It blows me away because my whole intent was to come on the show and talk about how I like the fact, Black Lives Matter. It's obviously needed to be said. The fact that it's being said and causing such an uproar means it needs to be said. Every day in this country, black people are told and shown that our lives don't matter. So the fact that these sisters would come up with something, Black Lives Matter, so simple, so to the point, that's good stuff. Do I agree with the movement and all that? Maybe not so much. I was going to come on this show and talk about how I think they've muddied the waters by, adding the LGBTQ/MB movement and the black movement all together. Then I had a conversation with a very intelligent person who watches the show. I'm not going to out her, but she happens to be related to me. But she changed my thinking on it. And with one comment that she said, she said, "Two brothers in a burning house do not have time to be arguing. They got to get out of that burning house." And that's what's going on with us black folk. Right now we're in a burning house. We're at the point to where I could be done doing this show, get in a car, ride up the street, and it not be so good. You know, bump into a cop out here who's on one, he can smoke me, and it may not even be news. It may not even make the news. You know, and who knows what we gotta, you know what I'm saying, is people gonna march in the streets for me or whatever, that guy probably won't even go to jail. You know, he'll probably retire with a full pension and I'm dead in the streets. We gotta get past that as a people, okay? When we get to a point in this country where black people aren't being murdered in the streets by police officers, then we can argue about each other's sexuality. But right now, while this house is burning down, I'm not going to worry about who that brother has sex with. I'm not going to worry about who that sister has sex with. I'm not going to worry about if this brother wears a dress or makeup. Right now, we don't have that luxury. As black folk, we do not have that luxury. You know, we do not have that luxury. And I would say to a lot of you out there who, because she talked about this, how, you know, a lot of people have a problem that it's that some of these movements are now headed up by the LGBT community and or people from that community, you know, people who are transgender, who are gay or whatnot like that. The movement, it has changed. Things have changed. Everything has changed. The movement looks different. It's going to look different. It should look different. You know, there aren't men heading it up anymore. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Martin, Malcolm, Medgar Evers, Huey P. Newton, H. Rap Brown. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Medgar Evers, these brothers, they did their thing. And they showed these new people how to do it. And they're doing some of their tactics they're using, but they got some other tactics. Other things are going on. These movements are not going to necessarily be led by people who look like me. And that's fine. That's called change. Things need to change. This is a new day. We got new stuff going on. I'm going to get into that a little deeper when I start talking about these protesters going on. But our protesters are looking different. They should look different. We'll get into that though. But things have changed. We got to get on board with that. So as far as the Black Lives Matter movement goes, you got to support it. You got to support it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I support the sentiment, not necessarily the organization. I still go on record is feeling that way. But at the end of the day, I don't think the waters have been muddy. As my sister said, the water they've been muddy. It muddies the waters. These waters have been muddy. Since we've been fighting for civil rights, these waters have been muddied with mud and blood and despair of a people. So come on now. You know what I'm saying? Then I thought, there's an artist that I love, her name is Santa Gold, and she has a song, The Keepers, and that's what she says. We're the keepers while we sleep in America. Our house is burning down, our house is burning. Come on, man. When I hear that song, I'm like, ain't that something? She hit the nail on the head. We're the keepers while we sleep in America. Our house is burning down, our house is burning. And it literally is. How many of y'all, just like me, you'll go to sleep tonight, guess what? The house is burning. There's probably somebody downtown in the city you live in. It's on fire right now. You know why? Because people are upset. And people, and I take that back. Look, I mean it like that. It ain't on fire. There's a lot of peaceful protests going on out there. But there are a lot of people protesting. And why are they doing that? They're unhappy. And they've been unhappy for a long time. And they need things to change. I'm not going to lie. I was saying to my woman just recently, I said, man, they still protesting? I was surprised at that. And then I'm like, they still protesting in Columbus, Ohio? That blew me away. What? But that's because it's serious now. It's serious. And it's some of this from George Floyd. That was kind of the catalyst that sparked it off. But man, this is going past that. This is deeper than Floyd. It's deeper than George Floyd right here. Because, I mean, this has been almost, a month or two of protesting? How long is it going to go on? But I think it's a great thing. Because look at the effect it's having. Look at the effect it's having. I talked about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep talking about that on the show because it's huge. But these protesters, they got to be careful. They got to be safe. We'll get into that. But, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Our house is burning. You know, it's burning. So we got to do something about it. So there's that. I wanted to talk about a great man, a great politician, John Robert Lewis. He passed. He was 80 years old. He marched with Dr. King, said Dr. King is the one who got him into activism. I would say he's the last real-life civil rights leader in Congress. If I'm wrong about that, you know, you can always hit me in the pushback zone. If you know somebody else who you like, hey, don't forget about this brother, he in Congress and he's a civil rights guy or whatever, let me know. But as I know, I think he's one of the last. He's definitely one of the last of the old school ones, you know, who actually marched with King and was getting it in the 60s and all that when it was really going down in these streets, you know, on a civil rights tip. So, That's just a shame that he passed on. He talked about good trouble. And that's what all these activists are doing. They're getting in good trouble. It's good trouble when you go out there and you stand up and give a voice to the voiceless. And it's good trouble when you get arrested to shine a light on something that needs to be fixed or something that needs to change or an injustice or something like that. That's good trouble. So that's what he talked about. He was the youngest speaker at the March on Washington. Dr. King was 23 years old. And he spoke at the March on Washington. It was like a gazillion people there. And this 23-year-old kid, spoke in the name of civil rights. So that's something right there. After that, I guess 2 years after that march, so he would have been 25, he led Bloody Sunday, which was the march in Selma, Alabama, over the bridge for voting rights. Bloody Sunday. Why do they call it that? Not because it's cute. Because a lot of them brothers and sisters ended up bloodied. He was one of them. He was beat. He was hurt. They was beat with batons just because they was black people trying to vote right here in America. Yeah, imagine that. So, you know what I'm saying? That man did that. He got the Presidential Medal of Honor from Barack Obama. So think about that. They said a few people have a chance to see their work and their lives come full circle like that, but he did. Here's a man who fought and literally bled for civil rights. Got into Congress, was able to do it legislatively and stuff like that. Then got to the point and lived long enough to see the first African American black president, Barack Hussein Obama, get the oath of office, become president, and then he got the Presidential Medal of Honor from the first black president. Come on, man. That is that's 360 degrees of excellence, black excellence, blexcellence. That's what that was. That's an amazing thing, but I know he really reflected on that fondly, I'm sure. And people said that, few of us will ever see our life and our work come together like that, full circle like that. So that was amazing. And then recently, since his death, there's a Virginia high school that was named Robert E. Lee High School. They're changing that, and they're changing it to the John Robert Lewis High School. Now, a lot of people are like, that ain't no big deal. Man, that's a huge deal. First of all, it's in Virginia. Virginia? Come on, man. They have a legacy, a nice, long, thick, rich legacy of racism in Virginia. And these people said, Robert E. Lee, let's suck out of here. Let's change it to Robert, or change it to, John Robert Lewis High School. I think that has a better ring to it anyway, and that's definitely a better man to name it after. So he will be missed. We need good legislators like him. So if you are John Roberts like, please step up. Please step up. Moving on, but still talking, and this is a great segue, talking about him, a great activist, a great protester, right into protest. Trump sending federal agents to Portland. Why are you doing that? They didn't ask for them. They don't want them. Claiming protests are violent. And that's BS. I'm sure you've heard that too. If you watch Fox News and some of these other outlets, they're going to have all these pictures and all this video and stuff, and they're claiming that the protests are violent, the protesters are violent, and that they're destroying property. And sometimes they do show some graffiti, whatever. Sometimes they do show some broken windows, whatever. Now I just feel like that. Now a lot of people are like, don't be whatever in that. That's somebody's business. Well, whatever, man. Them businesses have insurance. I went on record as saying that. And people who haven't had a voice having a voice, that's more important than I think buildings and such, or property damage. Excuse me. Yeah, I think humanity and human suffering more important than property damage. So if property damage shines a light on that, oh well. Anyway, this president of ours is like, he says Dems are physically afraid of the protesters. Number one, physically afraid of the protesters. I was telling somebody earlier, I would love somebody to just do like, give me a demographic of the average protester. I'm thinking right now the average protester is probably not even black. They're probably not even black. It might be a young, well, I take that back. It might be a young black woman or a young white woman. But I'm just wondering, what is the demographic of the average protesters? Because protesters don't look like they used to. Maybe they do. Actually, at King's Day, it was a lot of young people. We still got young people out there. It's a lot of young people protesting. But I just wonder, what is the demographic of the average protester? But I guarantee you, ain't nobody scared of these people. Protesters, number one, do not have weapons. So get that out of here. And you're gonna talk about they're physically afraid of the protesters. That's why they don't want to do anything about it. Nah, because a lot of protesters are just peaceful people who are upset at the bad job that their president is doing, and it is their civic duty and right to protest. There's that. So he also says that the Dems have said that feds are do more harm than good, and that is true. A lot of these people in these states have said, please do not send federal agents because that does more harm than good. It does. Everybody knows a lot of times when the police get added to a situation, it escalates the situation. Been plenty of times. I've been in Mount Vernon in the hood at the pizza spot. Everything is cool out there. Out of nowhere, you see the boys pull up. Why are they here? Nobody called them out here. They just seen a bunch of black faces outside and had to appear. And it's almost like they're looking for something, and their presence, it adds a tone to the place. Everything was fine before you showed up. Now you hear, people looking kind of side at people like, who called them? What's going on? Nah, we don't need that. We don't need that. So sometimes you do more harm than good when you call the police. The mayor of Portland says, and this is a quote, I'm quoting the man. He said, we don't want you to, this is what he said to these federal agents who Trump has sent out here. He said, we don't want you. We don't need you. You need to leave before someone gets killed. Come on, man. Let's hear that again. He said, we don't want you. We don't need you. And you need to leave before somebody gets killed. There it is, man. Mark his words, man. The man told you. Jeez. And he's the mayor of the city. And they had talked about, I think I read an article this morning about how he was out protesting, the mayor, peacefully protesting with some of the people from his city, and he got tear gassed. What the heck? He's the mayor. So, I mean, the police, and then they wonder why people support defunding them, because this bad behavior is ridiculous. Why are they on this? Why are they doing this? Do they think this helps their case? I don't know. The mayor of Portland, he had said all that. Like I said, he was protesting with some of the protesters. The protest was peaceful. They've been picking up protesters in unmarked cars. That's not good. People talk about fascism, living in a fascist state. So now think about this. We have an administration, we have a president who has sent out special police in unmarked cars, wearing unmarked uniforms, because they said these guys have no badge and they have nothing that identifies who or what they are, just picking people off the street. Now I'm going to tell you, none of this is new. They were doing all this in the 60s. Ask Medgar Evers, ask Martin Luther King, ask Malcolm X. They were doing this to all of them. The only difference here, though, is the players have changed a little bit. Back then in the 60s, it was mostly black folk who were getting involved in this. Now, not so much. A lot of these are white people who are upset in the way things are going, and they're getting picked up because they're out there protesting. So nothing's changed with the players, but these little tricks and games, the government been doing this, the FBI been doing this. This ain't nothing new. And the only other thing that's new too is there's a lot of camera phones. So this stuff is being well documented. I mean, it's being well documented. I told a friend of mine, history will not be kind to this president because all of this is on camera. It's all on camera. It's all being documented. It's all right here, and people can call it back whenever they want to. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, internet. But that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? That was real interesting. So or it's sad that that's going on. One night, I guess while there were protests going on out there, a group of moms came and surrounded the protesters. And I seen the picture, maybe seen the pictures. These are like real life moms locking arms, protecting the protesters. And you think that the cops fell back like they had some sense, like, these moms, we ain't gonna tear gas them. No, they tear gassed them and shot them with rubber bullets. Because the cops is on one. Somebody need to talk to them. Their public relations is horrible. This is not how you win people over, tear gassing and shooting rubber bullets at moms. These were moms. I think some of them was wearing fanny packs. These was the moms next door. So they link arms or whatever to protect the protesters. The next night, I guess, because there was a protester. Well, not actually a protester. This guy was in the army, and he came out. And he came out because he had seen the protest on TV, and he wanted to go down there. I can't remember his name, but we'll talk about him. I'll get him for another show. And or I might have talked about him last show. Now that I'm thinking about it, he went down there. He was in the Navy, and he just said he wanted to ask these guys, like, why are you breaking your constitutional oath by attacking peaceful citizens? You're not supposed to be doing this. In the Constitution, we're not supposed to be doing this. You know, you're military, I'm military too. What are you doing? So, you know, he called himself coming at him or whatever, and they came at him with batons. Boom, they beat him. I think they, you know, pepper sprayed him or whatnot. They broke his arm. So he did an interview. After that, more people turned out. You know what happened now? They said, though, I think maybe this was last night. They said that there was a circle of soccer moms linking arms protecting the protesters, but then outside of them was a circle of servicemen like Army and such veterans with their arms locked protecting the moms. Whoa! This thing then got thick. Can you believe that? I said, So then there's that, and then they were talking about how the security people or the federal agents were throwing tear gas and stuff, and they were using leaf blowers and stuff to fan the tear gas back at them and picking it up with other mitts and throwing the canisters back at them. I just said, man, ain't that something? See, that right there impresses me about America. Because what happened? A vet came out and talked about how other vets are not acting right and they're not doing what we all took an oath to do, and that's stand up for this country and protect its citizen. They're harming citizens. Other vets came out to get them vets in check. Other vets came out to protect citizens, to protect moms. That's good right there, man. That's good, man. That's American stepping up. I like to see that, man. That warmed the cockles of my heart when I see it. It warmed the very cockles of my heart. Because that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up, man. They like, this ain't right. You know what I'm saying? So they came out to do something about it. That was really, really, really cool, man. They talked about how right now protesters are being told to cover their faces. That's what I was saying. This protesting thing, it looks different. Now, they were saying a lot of these guards who are picking up these protesters in unmarked cars and wearing clothes that don't have anything saying who they are, or they military, or they police, or whatever. Well, the police officer there said they're not working in concert with the police. That's a problem. So you just got guys out here with weapons in a rental car. I'm not making this stuff up. Google it if you don't believe me. In a rental car, picking up protesters. He's wearing something that looks like a military uniform, but it's not a military uniform. Guys from the military are all saying that's also problematic. They have this special task force from Trump running around in stuff that looks like military guard, but it isn't, picking up citizens. Not cool. So all that's going on. You know what I'm saying? And they were saying that right now, now they were telling protesters, cover your face because of the tear gas and stuff like that, but also, too, so that they don't know who you are and they can target, because they've been targeting these protesters. Like I said, they've been targeting protesters. They've been and talked about how they were keeping a log of protesters. They've been doing it since the 60s. They always do that. But it's also good, for the protesters, like I said, keep covering their face so they can be targeted. And these guys who are doing this special policing, their faces are covered. So I guess that's just how this game is going to be played now. Players on both sides will be covering their faces. If you're a protester, it's not a bad idea to cover your face. One, because you don't want to get tear gas or inhale anything else they might be throwing around out there to quell a protest. Two, because you don't want them seeing your face, because I'm sure they will target you. They will target your family, which they're going to do anyway if you get high enough up in the movement or in said protest. So there's that. Moving on, let's get back into some more politics. Kasich is due to speak at the DNC. Great stuff. I think he should. They're saying there's people who are mad about it. Why would you be mad about it, man? They call it bipartisanship. Now, John Kasich, he is a Republican. But he's one Republican who I could have seen myself voting for. If it had been between Kasich and Trump, which I don't know how that could have happened. Well, I guess, it was between Kasich and Trump and a few other people on the Republican side, but Trump got the nomination. But if I were a Republican, I would have probably voted for Kasich. Because of all of them guys on that side, he was the only person I thought actually wasn't crazy. He's a moderate, and he spoke like a moderate. And I've never voted for a Republican ever in my life. Like I said, I've been on this show and I've went on record as being a card-carrying Democrat. No more. I'm an independent these days because, like I said, I would vote for a Republican if he was talking right, if his record looked good, if he was saying the right things, if he's rubbing all the spots. I might would go ahead and cast a ballot and rep the R one time. But he would have to be a really, 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 really good candidate, the likes we have not seen in a long time. So, with that said, I think Kasich speaking at the DNC is a great thing. And remember, Kasich hates Trump. He cannot stand no Donald Trump. He was mad at Trump, you know what I'm saying, when he lost the nomination to him. So he don't like Trump. So of course he's going to get up there and he's not going to say anything good about Trump. And that could help because there's a lot of people who respect Mr. John Kasich. He has a lot of fans. If only 1 or 2% of them came over to the Biden world, that could mean a win for Biden. So people out there being stupid, you know, talking about, oh, he's a Republican, we don't want him at the DNC. Get that out of here, man. Like I said, it's called bipartisanship. It's called reaching across. Maybe neither of those things are going on, but you know what it's called? It's called if a Republican going to say some good things about Joe Biden, he'll take it. You know, because it all equals votes you probably would not have gotten, may not have gotten if this guy didn't speak on your behalf. So there's that. Moving on. I want to talk about, there's a conservative congressman by the name of Tim Yoho. Tim Yoho has the audacity to call AOC, my girl, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, had the nerve to call her an effing B. This is a family show, so I'll spell it out. He called her an FUCKINGBITCH. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? What happened to decency? I guess the story goes that she was coming down the steps, probably the Capitol, I don't know which building, going about her business, trying to live her life. And he grabs her, he wags his finger in his face. She tells the story on the floor of Congress, which was great. And I like how she quoted him and she used the words which she needed to do because people need to hear that. They need to hear that this man had the audacity to come outside himself and come at her with such disrespect. Anyway, story goes, she's walking down the steps. He wags his finger in her face. Oh, you're disgusting. She said, mad about somewhere I voted on something or some of my views or some of my stances. And, you know, he leaving. She said, you're rude. She called him rude. He looks back and said, I'm rude. And he turns, you know, F and B, you know. And the press corps heard it. People heard this. You know what I'm saying? So it was obviously loud enough for people to hear. And I'm like, wow, for real? But he knew that people heard it and he knew that he said that. So then he has the audacity to jump on TV and get on the House floor and give an apology that's not an apology. You know what it was? It wasn't an apology. It wasn't a way to absolve himself of what he did, disguised as an apology, because he gonna say, I want to apologize for my passion that I have for my country. I am the father of 2 daughters. And I like her. She said, oh yeah, he talked about he's the father of 2 daughters. Well, I'm somebody's daughter who you use that language with. She said, and that's what Alexandria Cortez said, now I have to show them that I'm their daughter and show them that they raised a daughter who doesn't take disrespect from men. Oh my goodness. You need to go hear what she said in response to Mr. Yoho on the floor of Congress. You got to go because, you know, really, she spoke for a lot of women out there, you know, but she spoke just for anybody who's ever been disrespected by somebody who thought that it was okay to disrespect them like that, you know. And like I said, I like the fact that she used the word. She said he called me up. And she used the terminology, and people say, oh, that's inappropriate. She said, yeah, it is inappropriate. Talk to him about the inappropriate, because that's how he came at me, you know. But that guy, he's like all them guys. I hate to say it, man. A lot of them GOP types, a lot of them guys, that's what it is, man. They're like those fraternity guys. They're like afraid of women, man. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? Men, you have friends who are like this. If you're a man, you know men like this, if none of them are your friends. But they're afraid of women. So they run around trying to make women cry. They're disrespectful to women. All of that. You know, they make these little snide jokes about women and stuff. These men are afraid of women. That's why they act the way they act. And he's another one. And they're definitely afraid of this woman. This woman is smart, she's intelligent, she's poised, she's ready for prime time, and she's real. That's what really scares them. She's not to be bought. You know what? They came in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and they asked her, how about a run for presidency? And she could do it. She could do it because she is young. She does have a grip of social media because she's young, because she's smart, she's very attractive. She could do it. She could pull that off. And she said, no. She said, because I'm not interested in playing it safe. She said, there's things I'd have to do right now in my career or not do right now in my career, looking at a bid in the future, and I'm not here for that. I'm here to do a good job by my constituents. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she said. Hats off to her, because rarely do you hear that. Somebody gets into politics, let me tell you, they enjoy the perks that come with it. And she's feeling the perks. She's in Congress now. So she's enjoying a nice paycheck, a really nice condo, I'm sure car service. I mean, just everything. Staffers who do every little thing for you. Somebody getting you lunch every day. I mean, they kick it up there. They're having a good time. That's a great job. I would love it. I would relish the chance. You know what I'm saying? To make that money and be on TV and schmooze with these people and all that good stuff. And they love it too. They love it so much they don't want to leave. That's why they stay there for life, doing nothing. So right there, she let it be known that, no, I'm not interested in that. If that happened, that'd be great, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in actually doing a good job for the people who sent me here. You don't hear that. You do not hear that from politicians. So hats off to her. She's a good woman, and sadly enough, she's got to put up with pathetic men like that who are afraid of women. I'm going over my time a little, but I'm going to keep it going because I got some good stuff. I'm going to end with a little Kanye talk, then a little Corona talk, and we're going to be done. Check this out. Kanye West, he's getting on my nerves. I love the man. He is one of the most talented artists on two legs, but he got to lay off of whatever he's drinking or smoking, or start taking the medication he's not taking, because something's going on in that head. Now, I know a lot of you was seen the video of his sister on Instagram where she's recording him, and he's sitting there talking about, well, Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves, she just freed them to work for other white people. And then the sister's like, okay, we're going right now. And she cuts off the video, she leaves. I felt the same way when I watched it. When he said that, I wanted to cut off the phone and throw it at him. Bro, what is the matter, you two? What are you talking about now? Let me put this into some perspective. I believe it or not, I can see where that comment came from. It's stupid, but walk with me. I'm going to show you where he probably came up with that in his little mind. Harriet Tubman, everybody knows that she was an amazing abolitionist. Here's a woman who freed herself from bondage. Then she went back several times to get her kinfolk and skinfolk out of bondage, right? She also had a temporary service. She had a temporary company, which was amazing, because you got to think about it. Once you've saved someone from slavery, now they need something to do every day, don't they? So she not only was able to give these people freedom, she also gave them a livelihood. Think about that. She saved them from bondage and then gave them a job. Put that woman on the 20, man. Put that woman on the 20. Who is beating her? I already had all the respect and admiration in the world for Miss Tubman. After hearing this, I'm really like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Hold up. So she was saving her black folk from bondage. You know what I'm saying? From slavery, the worst thing that anybody's ever done to anybody. She's bringing them out of that, and then she's giving them a job. Then she gave them work, as the boys are saying on the block. Gave them some work, son. Gave them work, gave them work, gave them a livelihood, gave them a way to feed their families. Psst. I'm done, man. She gets the award for best human being ever. See what I'm saying? So he has the audacity to say that just free to work for other white people. Well, how about this? At the time, it's just like right now. Who's got most of the money? White people. So you're going to be working, you're probably working for white people. I work for white people. Most people work for white people. That's just regular life. Not everybody, and D.L. Hughley said this, not everybody can be Kanye West and make a bunch of money for tennis shoes and music. And I'm like, Kanye, like I said, I love the brother. I think he's one of the most talented people on two legs. I want to go upside his head with something hard every time he opens his mouth about politics or religion. Shut up, man. Just shut up and make music. I'm telling you, man, this guy's getting on my last nerve, because it's bad enough that we have an administration, you know what I'm saying, who wants to try and take, kudos away from Miss Tubman by not giving her respect and putting her on the $20 bill like they said they were going to do. But now we got you stepping up and trying to take away from her shine, and you can. So I want everybody with an earshot of phys ed music